state.
Real quick, I just had a couple of questions.
Sure.
The encumbrance to increase for maintenance to increase the phone contract with AT&T. I thought the idea was we were trying to decrease that contract.
Well, they're saying they need to buy a little time before they can get something in place to replace those FX lines.
Okay. So maintenance is still
Still paying the
Paying
bill.
for it.
still paying the bill.
Yeah.
That'll probably be a topic of conversation, I would imagine, with the auditors at their budget hearing.
Okay. So I guess my next question would be, what is the increase then? Do we know?
It's 25,000.
25. Yeah, because AT&T jacked up the prices on those FX lines we've had all these years.
But
I mean, are we using these things
Well,
right
they're
currently?
used, but it's just if we didn't have them, people would call that main 285 number instead.
I mean, do we know that specifically that these dollars are going to that?
I have not, yeah, it's going to
Oh, yeah,
that.
for sure.
It is?
Yeah, it's going on that specific encumbrance for AT&T.
I have a hard time spending $25,000 on a 1-800 number. I mean, am I simplifying this thing or oversimplifying it, Glenn? Is that all it is so people from the other side of the county can call in here?
Yeah, this is one of those things that way back in the old days, this was the best way to go.
Right.
And nowadays of numerous departments involved, we're on the right track, and all three departments are working together and trying to come up with a solution and trying to get rid of this.
I understand.
And matter of fact, I just talked to Al about it the other day, and they're really trying to push it and everything.
I mean,
to get rid of it.
so this is an increase, but what's the final price?
Was it 6,000 a month, or 6,600 a month?
Yeah,
something like that?
That's crazy.
huge. I mean,
Yeah.
the comment was made that they're being used. Do we know that they're being used?
Oh, yeah.
Are we
Yes.
assuming, do we have traffic on them? Do we have data to support the fact that they're being used?
From what I'm being told, yes, there's.
Because there's a
traffic
huge
on it.
number of people that are just going completely to cell phones today, and we don't need FX lines
I
if we got cell.
totally agree with you, we're going to cell phones, but we're also looking at how do I put this diplomatically, the seniors of the county,
Hey.
right, that don't have the cell phones, all right?
I'm a senior, I got a cell phone. What are you talking about?
Or everybody has the
Don't
Don't
number that
be
they-
belittling us seniors.
yeah.
So we are in the works, what we're even looking at is just putting something out there right now, is, hey, you need to start calling the 1-800 number.
Exactly.
And getting that education out so that we don't have a lot of abuse, I don't wanna say abuse, but
I mean-
people trying to use a lot.
I've been talking
Okay,
about this
so
for years.
so I guess the alternative would be if this line was not in place, the taxpayer from, say, Chesterland or
Parkman.
Parkman.
Parkman's gonna call the 834 number, because Burton is a local call for Parkman.
And
That's why
they
it's
would
in
be,
place.
they would have to incur the long distance charge.
And we have been looking at an alternative, but what ADP was running into was that if we cancel this contract,
Yeah.
we're going to be on the hook for a majority of the value of that contract until its end.
Right, there is a
So-
cancellation fee, that's right.
Yes.
There is a cancellation fee.
So that's why we had to do this, because what we really have to do is just get to the end of the contract, and then we can really make big changes.
And how long do we have to go on that?
It's another year and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
So through the end of next year.
I mean,
think.
this is like
Who
literally
negotiated
flowing
that
money.
contract?
Your guess would probably be correct. So he's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So
Well, it was at his direction, but this is something you've been saying,
Yeah.
most people have a landline with free long distance, so they can call the 285 number. People have cell phones, free long distance. they
Or
can
I
call.
just paid my long distance bill.
Or- or-
I mean, I don't
but-
expect
We
anyone else to
also-
pay it for me.
We also have a toll-free number that we got
Yeah.
years ago that nobody really uses or knows about. That, they could call if they don't have anything else. If they still have a landline and they don't have any free long distance, they can call toll-free number. There's all these things in place, but nobody ever wanted to make the change.
And the termination fee is how much?
It's pretty close to the actual cost of the contract, as I understand it.
Yeah, based on the email that we got from,
I mean, this is a horrible business decision, whoever came up with this and got us into this. I'll
Well-
just say it flat out. I mean, I would never put myself in a position like this.
And I guess if we're
Yeah.
on contract, why are we putting more money into it?
because I think that the original appropriations were limited with the understanding that if need be, we could increase it. But there were increases that happened from AT&T where our rates went up. And most of these contracts allow for like regular increases of certain percentages and stuff. Like this probably wasn't $6,000, back when we first started it, but over the years as it's gotten more and
What's
more.
the outcome if we don't pay the increase? What does the contract say in terms of maintenance of that contract?
Well, I mean, if you're not paying the full amount of the bill,
You're
you're
in
gonna
default.
be in default of the contract.
Yeah, but they can't just unilateral, we gotta approve the increase. And so we can go back and renegotiate possibly, or, find another way, because they can't just unilaterally, the contract just gives them, shoot, what's stopping them? They got a blank check, they can just keep increasing the rate through the ceiling.
Till the end of the contract, yes, and then you can renegotiate or go with somebody else.
But we don't know that, because you haven't read the contract.
I have not read the contract, I'm just going off of
But somebody
what
read the
Al told us.
contract is my point,
Yeah.
at some point, and this is whoever okayed
They read the
this,
contract,
yeah.
and they, if you're not thinking outside the box, say, well, we need an FX line, so it is what it is. AT&T provides the 834 exchange, so it is what it is. If you want an FX line, they're the only game in town for that.
If we set this aside today and got a copy of the contract and kind of found out where we were, what's the implication of that?
Well, we will not be able to pay next month's bill, this month's bill. So, we would not, am I understanding that, Glenn, correctly, that you guys need the,
I mean, I don't see this on a monthly basis rolling through here. I mean, this is the first time I've seen this. I mean,
well, as far as an increase, but the AT&T bill does
It's
happen every month.
Yeah.
That's that one that gets split up and there's a cash transfer that comes from all the different
Yes,
departments.
yep, I'm
Yeah.
familiar with that.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So we're at 6,600 right now a month, and it's gonna go up another basically $2,000 more a month.
No, that is the new rate. It's
Yeah.
just, when the appropriation was made, it was based on the old rate. And they've increased rate during the years.
And even then, it would probably, maybe wasn't set to, go through the whole year with the understanding that that might be getting transferred to ADP and different stuff like that, so. They probably didn't want to tie up their entire appropriations with that AT&T encumbrance.
Yeah.
So,
I-
I
I'd be-
did that over at Water Resources.
I'd really be interested to see how much usage is on these lines, these FX lines. I would, my gut is telling me it would be very little traffic coming in on those things,
You could be right.
but,
You could be
It's
right.
probably not.
for the amount we're spending here, we could certainly do other things in this county, sorely priorities,
Absolutely.
pressing things we could use that money for.
Especially since there's another avenue for
Yeah.
people to use.
I mean, I'm hesitant to move forward with this, but I understand the legal implications of not paying our bills and such, which I don't want to do, but,
And has anybody tried to reach out, has anybody tried to negotiate with AT&T on this?
Al and Al are both working with them, and there's another company that they're working with right now also. And they are in contact with them, and they've been working. It's one of those big companies, it doesn't happen overnight.
right.
It takes a little bit of time. And
I'm
I
not sure
will say,
that
For Al, for them guys, they have stepped up to the plate tremendously in the last couple of months and really doing this and checking it out and everything.
Okay.
I give them a lot of kudos.
I mean, if that's the end game is to get out of this, I'm all for it.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
there
yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's enough focus on this right now that I don't think it's gonna get swept back under the rug. so.
Yeah. Okay.